Listen up, because what I'm about to share with you today might completely change the way you look at natural remedies. And I mean that from the bottom of my heart. My name is Dr. Chloe Bennett, and I've been practicing integrative and functional medicine for over 25 years. In that time, I've sat across from thousands of men in their 50s, 60s, 70s, who came to me exhausted, frustrated, and honestly, a little embarrassed. They'd been handed prescription after prescription, and yet something still felt off. Their energy was gone, their joints ached, they weren't sleeping, and they'd lost that spark that used to define them. And you know what? A lot of the answers I found for them didn't come from a pharmacy. They came from something a whole lot simpler. Something that's been sitting in the back of people's medicine cabinets for generations. Castor oil. Now, before you roll your eyes and click away, just give me a few minutes. Because I promise you, by the time we're done here, you're going to see this humble little oil in a completely different light. Do you remember your grandmother pulling out that thick yellowish bottle when you were a kid? Maybe she made you swallow a spoonful and you absolutely hated it. Maybe you saw it sitting dusty on a shelf and never thought twice about it. Here in America, a lot of our grandparents, especially those with roots in the South, in Appalachia, in immigrant communities from Eastern Europe or South Asia, they swore by castor oil. It wasn't fancy, it wasn't marketed with a celebrity endorsement, but generation after generation it kept showing up. And I've spent a good chunk of my career asking why. See, we live in a world that moves incredibly fast. You feel a little off, you Google your symptoms, you run to CVS or Walgreens, and you grab whatever's on the shelf. And look, I get it. I'm a doctor. I understand the appeal of fast relief. But here's the honest truth that I tell every single patient who walks through my door. Most of what's on those shelves is masking your symptoms, not fixing the root cause. Our grandparents understood something we've largely forgotten. Plants, seeds, and roots didn't just provide temporary relief. They supported long-term vitality. And in that whole world of natural remedies, castor oil stands out as one of the most powerful allies for men's health specifically. Now, I want to be upfront with you, something I always do with my patients. Everything I'm sharing today is educational. It's based on traditional use, historical practice, and where available, peer-reviewed research. This is not a substitute for talking to your own doctor. We clear? Good. Let's get into it. Castor oil is extracted from the seeds of the Ricinus communis plant. Its main active compound is ricinoleic acid, which makes up somewhere between 85 and 95% of its fatty acid content. And ricinoleic acid is no joke. It has well-documented anti-inflammatory and analgesic properties. That's not folklore, that's biochemistry. Studies published in journals like the Journal of Ethnopharmacology have examined castor oil's effects on inflammation and pain, and the results are genuinely interesting. But here's what I want to talk about today, specifically what this means for men, particularly men over 50. I've been working with older male patients for a long time, and there's a pattern I see over and over again. It usually starts with fatigue. Not just I'm tired after a long day fatigue. I mean bone-deep exhaustion. The kind where you wake up already worn out. Then comes the joint pain, then the sleep problems, then the digestive issues. And somewhere along the way, the testosterone starts dipping, the libido fades, and a man who used to feel strong and capable starts feeling like a stranger in his own body. Now, mainstream medicine has answers for each of those things individually. A pill for sleep, an anti-inflammatory for joints, hormone therapy for testosterone. But what if there was one simple, inexpensive, natural substance that could support multiple systems at once? That's where castor oil comes back into the picture. Let me walk you through what I've seen in my practice and what the research supports. The first thing I always talk about with male patients is circulation and reproductive vitality. In Ayurvedic medicine, which by the way is a 5,000-year-old system that modern researchers are increasingly paying attention to, true male strength isn't measured by how much you can bench press. It's rooted in the quality of reproductive energy and overall vitality. When you gently warm castor oil and massage it into the lower abdomen, the pelvic region, and the upper thighs, you're doing something pretty remarkable. You're increasing local circulation, reducing inflammation in tissues, and encouraging lymphatic drainage. Some men in my practice have reported feeling lighter, more energetic, and noticing improved sexual vitality within a few weeks of consistent use. I can't promise that for everyone. Bodies are different. But the mechanism makes physiological sense. The second thing I want to address is nerve tension and musculoskeletal pain. Guys, this is a big one. If you're over 50 and you don't have some kind of lower backache, knee stiffness, or foot pain, you're in the minority. I see this every single day. One of the most underrated applications of castor oil is topical application to the soles of the feet, along the spine or around the knee joints. The ricinoleic acid penetrates the skin and works as a natural anti-inflammatory right where you need it. I've had patients who've been dealing with chronic knee discomfort for years tell me that after 2 or 3 weeks of nightly castor oil massage, they were sleeping better and moving more comfortably. Now, does that mean you throw away your orthopedic brace? No, but it's a real low-risk complementary tool worth trying. And here's something interesting from a reflexology standpoint. Your feet are essentially a map of your entire body. Different pressure points on the soles correspond to different organs and systems. When you apply castor oil to the feet, particularly before bed, the warming effect activates those pressure points and enhances circulation throughout the body. It sounds a little out there, I know, but reflexology has been practiced for thousands of years across multiple independent cultures, and there's growing interest in the scientific community about why that might be. Third, and this one surprises a lot of people, castor oil has significant benefits for liver and digestive health. Men, especially as they get older, tend to ignore gut issues. You eat something that doesn't agree with you, you pop a Tums, and you move on. But the liver is doing heavy lifting every single day. It's processing hormones, metabolizing fat, filtering toxins. If your liver isn't functioning optimally, it affects everything. Your energy levels, your hormone balance, your mood, your skin. I've used castor oil packs, a warm cloth soaked in castor oil applied to the upper right abdomen over the liver, as part of detox protocols for my patients for years. It's a technique endorsed by practitioners in integrative medicine from coast to coast, and many of my patients report significant improvement in bloating, digestion, and overall energy within a month of consistent use. Once a week, rubbing a small amount of castor oil into the navel and lower abdomen can also support healthy gut motility. Fourth, joint health and inflammation. I touched on this already, but I want to go deeper because this is honestly one of the most clinically relevant applications for older men. Ricinoleic acid inhibits substance P, which is a neuropeptide involved in the transmission of pain signals. It also suppresses prostaglandin synthesis, which is the same mechanism, by the way, that ibuprofen uses. So when you warm up some castor oil and rub it into your knees, your lower back, or your hips, you're not just doing some folk remedy. You're delivering a legitimate anti-inflammatory directly to the affected tissue. I recommend this to patients as a complement to their existing treatment plan, not a replacement, and the feedback has been consistently positive. Fifth, and this is one people don't talk about nearly enough, sleep and stress recovery. I don't think Americans fully appreciate how catastrophic poor sleep is for men's health, particularly as we age. Poor sleep tanks your testosterone. It spikes cortisol. It impairs cognitive function. It accelerates aging. And a lot of guys are just grinding through it, running on coffee and willpower. A gentle scalp massage with castor oil before bed, or massaging it into the soles of your feet, has a genuinely calming effect on the nervous system. Several of my patients who struggled with falling asleep or staying asleep reported meaningful improvement after adding this to their nightly routine. The mechanism likely involves castor oil's effects on prostaglandins and its ability to calm the peripheral nervous system. The results aren't dramatic overnight, but give it 2 to 3 weeks, and a lot of men notice they're sleeping deeper and waking up feeling more rested. Sixth, hormonal health and libido. Okay, let's talk about the elephant in the room. A lot of men over 50 are quietly dealing with a drop in libido, and they don't want to bring it up. Not to their wives, not to their friends, and sometimes not even to their doctors. I've had men sit in my office for 45 minutes talking about their blood pressure before finally mentioning, almost as an afterthought, that they haven't felt like themselves in the bedroom for 2 years. This is incredibly common and incredibly underaddressed. Castor oil, used consistently in the lower abdominal and pelvic region, supports circulation to the reproductive organs and may support healthy testosterone metabolism. This isn't going to replace hormone therapy if you have clinically low testosterone. Let me be clear about that. But for men whose levels are in the low normal range, who are experiencing sluggishness and reduced drive, supporting circulation and reducing systemic inflammation, can make a real difference. Men who feel energized, who sleep well, whose digestion is working, whose joints aren't screaming at them, those men naturally carry themselves differently. They have more confidence, more presence, and that energy is something that people around them absolutely notice. 7. Prostate and urinary tract health. Here's a subject that doesn't come up enough at the dinner table, but it should be on every man's radar after 50. Frequent urination, getting up multiple times a night, mild discomfort. These are early warning signs that a lot of men brush off. One weekly practice that I've recommended to patients as a gentle supportive measure is taking a small amount, about a teaspoon, of food-grade castor oil mixed with warm water or warm milk once a week. This helps support the elimination of toxins, supports bowel regularity, and may offer mild anti-inflammatory benefits to the surrounding pelvic tissue. Important caveat, and I mean this. If you're experiencing significant urinary symptoms, that's a conversation you need to have with a urologist. But for general maintenance and early preventative care, this is a simple, low-cost habit worth considering. 8th, appearance, vitality, and that hard-to-define quality I call presence. You know those people, and I bet you can picture one right now, who just seem alive. They walk into a room and you notice them, not because of their clothes or their car, but because they radiate something. Health, warmth, energy. I've watched men in my practice undergo this kind of transformation when they start taking their health seriously in a holistic way. Better sleep, better digestion, less inflammation, better hormonal balance. It shows on your face. Your eyes are clearer, your posture improves. You carry yourself differently. Castor oil isn't going to do all of that on its own, but it can absolutely be one thread in that larger tapestry of taking care of yourself. Now let me get practical with you because I know that's what you're really here for. The simplest way to start is this. Every night before bed, warm a small amount of castor oil between your palms and rub it into the soles of your feet. Put on a pair of old socks. Go to sleep, that's it. You'll notice the difference in your sleep quality and the feeling in your feet within the first week. For joint pain and back stiffness, warm the oil slightly. Maybe set the bottle in a bowl of warm water for a few minutes and then massage it directly into the affected area. Knees, lower back, hips. Do this 5 minutes a day and give it 3 weeks before you judge it. For digestive and liver support, try a castor oil pack once a week. Soak a piece of flannel in castor oil. Place it over your upper right abdomen, cover with plastic wrap, and lay a heating pad on top for 45 minutes to an hour. I know it sounds like a project, but my patients who commit to this consistently are the ones who see the biggest shifts in their energy and digestion. For internal use, and I want to be extra careful here, food-grade castor oil only. A teaspoon in warm water or warm milk no more than once a week. Don't overdo it. Your gut will tell you very quickly if you've had too much. Start slow. This is not something you chug down every morning. Moderation is everything. Now, I want to share a couple of practical recipes that blend castor oil with other kitchen staples. The first one I call vitality oil. Take a small bowl of castor oil, add about 10 peeled garlic cloves, and heat on very low for several minutes until the garlic softens. Let it cool, strain out the garlic, and keep the infused oil in a clean glass bottle. Massage this into your feet, spine, and lower back before bed. Give it a week or two and pay attention to how you feel. A lot of men notice a meaningful shift in their energy and endurance. The second recipe is a classic internal tonic that's been used across many cultures for generations. Mix 1 tablespoon of castor oil into a glass of warm whole milk. Take this no more than once a week. It supports bowel health, helps the body clear metabolic waste, and many men report it helps with overall vitality. This is a tradition passed down through generations, from grandfathers to fathers to sons. And while it may not make headlines in a medical journal tomorrow, there's real wisdom in how consistently it shows up across different cultures and time periods. The third recipe is for those of you who want a more comprehensive approach. Simmer a blend of castor oil with garlic, onion, a small piece of ginger, a stick of cinnamon, a few cloves, and optionally, a pinch of nutmeg. Strain it, store it in a clean bottle, and use it for a short 5-minute massage each day. The combination of these anti-inflammatory and warming spices with castor oil creates something genuinely powerful for circulation, joint health, and stress resilience. And finally, for a nighttime restorative, mix a teaspoon of castor oil with an equal amount of ghee, clarified butter, which you can find at most Whole Foods or Indian grocery stores these days, along with a pinch of dried ginger and a small spoon of powdered sugar. Take this in the evening. It nourishes the muscles, supports the nervous system, and promotes deeper sleep. This is a recipe with deep Ayurvedic roots, and the logic behind it is sound. You're combining healthy fats, warming compounds, and mild sweetness to calm the nervous system before rest. Here's the thing I want you to really hear before we wrap up. I've been practicing medicine for over 25 years. I have tremendous respect for pharmaceutical science. It saves lives every single day. But I also know that the human body didn't evolve alongside Lipitor and Cialis. It evolved alongside plants. And there's a reason that certain natural substances have been used consistently across thousands of years and dozens of cultures. They work. The challenge for men, especially American men of a certain generation, is that we're conditioned to push through, to ignore the signals our bodies are sending, to wait until something is seriously wrong before we take action. I can't tell you how many men I've seen in my office who waited too long, who let the fatigue become a crisis, let the joint pain become immobility, let the hormonal imbalance wreck their relationships. You don't have to do that. Taking care of yourself isn't weakness. It's the smartest thing you can do. And sometimes the most powerful tools are the simplest ones. The ones that have been around forever, that cost almost nothing, that your grandmother already knew about. Start slow. A little castor oil on your feet tonight. A warm pack on your abdomen this weekend. A teaspoon in warm milk on Sunday. Watch how your body responds. Everyone is different. Not all of you will have the same experience, but a lot of you are going to notice something. More energy, better sleep, less pain, a renewed sense of vitality that you maybe thought was just gone for good. And if you get there, if you start feeling like yourself again, do me a favor and tell somebody. Tell your buddy who's been complaining about his knees. Tell your brother who can't sleep. Share this with someone who needs it, because that's exactly how this kind of knowledge has always survived. Not through drug commercials, not through insurance paperwork, but through real people passing real wisdom to the people they care about. In a world obsessed with the newest supplement, the latest biohack, the most expensive treatment, sometimes the treasure was buried in your grandmother's cabinet the whole time. Take care of yourselves, gentlemen. You've earned it.